Hello everyone, am I audible and visible? Let me know, then we'll start. Am I audible and visible? Okay, fine. Hello everyone, welcome to my class. I'm myself Dr. Deepthi Karia. I'm your faculty for physiology. Okay. So today we'll discuss about characteristics of skeletal muscle. Okay, we have started our discussion regarding skeletal muscle and we will continue it with the properties of skeletal muscle. We have completed all the properties of skeletal muscle in my previous videos. So if you wish to get that question answer, it is available in that video. Okay. Now some of the important characteristics of skeletal muscle may be asked as a short question that we will discuss today. Okay. Now before starting the class, the announcement as usual, that is you can get soft copy as well as hard copy of all my lectures. For soft copy you have to download the application Vesalius and you have to subscribe the same. Download is free. Okay. And for hard copy you can order my book, that is physiology notes, and the book is available on Flipkart as well as Amazon. Okay, so you can order on Flipkart as well as Amazon, and link for all that is given in the description box. Fine. Another thing is you can join my WhatsApp group also, that is available. Link for the WhatsApp group joining, that is also there in the description box. The link and the number is 7863822668. Okay, 78638222668. So by sending message on this number also you can join my WhatsApp group. Okay. If you have my number, you can ask any query regarding to physiology and I'll try to give answer as soon as possible. Whenever I'm getting free, I'll definitely answer your queries. Okay. So hello, good evening beta. Sahit Reddy, good evening beta. And one more announcement here is on this my WhatsApp group I have one surprise gift for you, that is on 25th we have a lucky draw and the winner will get a copy of my book. So for that also you can join my WhatsApp group. Okay, so you can have a look of my book. This is just promotional event. Every month I'll be having my this group members draw in, and the number which is coming, the person is getting free copy of my book physiology notes. Okay, fine. So if you are first MBA student, please follow me and please watch my videos that makes your physiology easy. And if your physiology is easy, definitely your medicine is easier. Okay, fine. So let us start with our today's topic, that is characteristics of skeletal muscle. From this topic, questions asked, they are number one, these are short questions asked from this topic. One, that is muscle tone may be asked. What is muscle tone? How is it regulated? Okay. Another question may be asked, that is fatigue, muscle fatigue. These are the short questions. Okay. So today we'll discuss all these topics: muscle tone, nature of muscle contraction, gradation of muscle activity, muscle fatigue, one of the very important question, theory as well as practical point of view. This question may be asked, and mechanics of the muscle. Now starting with the first one, that is muscle tone. Now, what is the definition of muscle tone? Hello Kishan, good evening beta, welcome to my class. Okay, now, so what is muscle tone? How can you define muscle tone? Definition, you'll be having short question of muscle tone. And the answer is, what is muscle tone? It is a state of, you can write down along with me also, state of partial contraction or state of partial tension that is present in the muscle. Muscle has a state of partial tension. Always it is in a state of slight contraction, and that is muscle tone. Okay, now this muscle tone, all the skeletal muscles, they have tone. Okay, now how the tone of the skeletal muscle is maintained? By number one, discharge of gamma motor neuron. You can see here, these are gamma and these are alpha motor neuron. Okay, so gamma motor neurons, they supply your intrafusal fibers. You can see here, intrafusal fibers of muscle spindle. Okay, so this gamma motor neuronal continuous discharge. Okay, what happens when this gamma motor neurons they discharge? They provide some amount of state of tension to the muscle, and because of gamma motor neuronal discharge, sensory fibers are stimulated. They send signals and they increase alpha motor neuronal discharge. Alpha motor neuronal discharge is visible. Okay, so this alpha motor neuronal discharge is mainly responsible for skeletal muscle tone, but for that we require gamma motor neuronal discharge. Okay, am I clear? So gamma motor neurons, they give impulse to the intrafusial fibers. Because of gamma motor neuronal discharge, there is slight tightening and sensory information is transmitted through the fibers dorsal horn. You can see here type 1A and type two fibers. Okay, 1B, that is to Golgi tendon organ. Okay, and these fibers they cause alpha motor neuronal discharge, and this alpha motor neuronal discharge is responsible for visible tone of the muscle, and this gamma motor neuronal discharge is under control of higher center. Okay, so this is muscle tone. Now, what is the applied aspect of muscle tone? We will discuss. Applied aspect or abnormality of muscle tone. Either the tone is increase or decrease. Okay. So hypertonia, tone increases, and this is known as, this type of paralysis is known as spastic paralysis or spasticity. Commonly, this hypertonia is present in upper motor neuronal lesion. Now, this hypertonia is of two types. Number one is spasticity and second is rigidity. Now, what is the difference? This is rigidity, you can see here. Rigidity. Now, what is the difference between, one of the very important thing here to remember, what is the difference between spasticity and rigidity? Okay, spasticity means increased tone in one group of muscle. Suppose spasm, then there is increased tone in the flexors or extension, that results in spasticity. But if the tone of both flexors as well as extensor both is increased, then it results in rigidity. So this is very important differentiating point you can remember. Spasticity means increased tone in one group of muscle, either flexors or extensions, and rigidity means increased tone in both. So the limb becomes like rigid pillar. You can see here it cannot neither flex nor extended. That is rigidity. Fine. So you can see here this is in upper motor neuronal lesion. Why in upper motor neuronal lesion there is increased tone? Because upper motor neurons they inhibit lower one. So when this inhibition is lost, what happens? This lower motor neuronal discharge increases and that results in increase in the tone. I will give you easy example, like our parents are upper motor neuron, so they control us. When our parents are not there, means what happens? Our activity increases. So same here in upper motor neuronal lesion, because upper motor neurons they inhibit lower one, and when the inhibition is lost, then the tone increases. Fine. Now next one, that is hypotonia. Hypo means tone decreases, and this type of paralysis is known as flaccid paralysis. Hypertonia, that is spastic paralysis, and hypotonia, that is flaccid paralysis, and that is present in lower motor neuron lesion. Very very important thing that you have to remember in CNS: spastic and flaccid paralysis. Spastic paralysis is in upper motor neuronal lesion, and in flaccid paralysis is in lower motor neuronal lesion. Okay, because lower motor neurons are important for muscle tone. When lower motor neurons are lost, these are not there, then there is no tone. That is hypotonia. Am I clear? This is one of the very important concepts. So many times it may be asked, that is spastic paralysis and flaccid paralysis. Okay, so this is about muscle tone we have discussed. Okay, and different types of paralysis. Now next thing that to remember or that to discuss is nature of voluntary contraction. Okay, now our voluntary contraction means, suppose we are contracting the muscle. Suppose if I tell you to flex the muscle or extend, so that is muscle contraction. this voluntary contraction, when they are weak contractions are there, these weak contractions are subtetanic. Tetany means a state of, what is tetany? We have discussed. Tetany means a state of sustained contraction. Hello Carrie, good evening beta, welcome to my class. So tetany is state of sustained contraction without relaxation. Okay, so here when voluntary contraction, they are weak, means there is relaxation in between. Okay, so weak contraction, what happens here? Firing rate is less, firing frequency or rate is less. Okay, so sometimes what happens here, firing to one group of muscle only, but other group of muscles are not contracting, they are getting relaxed. Okay, so but when the firing rate increases, frequency increases, what happens? All the motor units are recruited. So lastly, when the voluntary contraction, they are strong, they become tetanic contraction. Okay, so this is the nature of voluntary contraction. Now, which factors they affect the muscle contraction? Gradation. So they are, one is recruitment of motor units. Okay, recruitment of motor units means, you can see here, suppose I'll just show you. All of you might be knowing motor unit. Motor unit, this is one motor unit, you can see here, one motor nerve with all the muscle fibers supplied by that motor nerve. Suppose this motor nerve, one motor nerve supplies 5 muscle fiber, so this is one motor unit. Fine. Okay, second supplies 3, third supplies 4. Okay, so suppose when one nerve fiber is stimulated, only your 5 muscle fibers are contracting. But if suppose 1 plus 2, this 2, then 8 muscle fibers are contracting. So first thing, first factor that affects your muscle contraction is recruitment of motor unit. It is like worker. Suppose if we have one worker, we are getting some work. If we have 2 workers, the work is increased. So recruitment of motor units. Fine. Now, second thing is, second important thing here is frequency of nerve impulse. You can see here, suppose this nerve is stimulated 1 times, then 3 times. So when we are stimulating it 3 times, definitely your contraction will be more. Okay, third factor, synchronization of nerve impulse. Synchronization means all are synchronized, all they are sending action potential at a time. Third factor. Fourth factor, initial length of muscle. We have discussed in case of skeletal muscle and cardiac muscle, we have Frank-Starling's law. Very important thing. Frank-Starling's law means force of contraction is directly proportionate to initial length of muscle fiber. Means more the initial length, more will be the force of contraction. So initial length also is very important factor. Next is warm up. Warm up also leads to stretching, and stretching causes increase in the initial length. So now, first factor, that is recruitment of motor unit. I told you, suppose your number 1, this motor unit is recruited. You can see here 2 muscle fibers are contracting. So one motor unit, 2 muscle fiber. But if 1 plus 2, okay, both are stimulated, what happens? You can see 2 plus 3. So you are stimulating, you have 5 muscle fibers working. Okay, so this is known as increase number of muscle fiber stimulation, and it is known as multiple. You can also write down, maybe this may be asked as a short question, what is multiple motor unit summation? Okay, multiple motor unit, they are summated. Fine. So this is recruitment of motor unit. Second is frequency of nerve impulse. You can see here, suppose if I have stimulated X motor unit, you can see 5 fibers are stimulated. Now I have stimulated Y, 7. So when impulse frequency increase frequency, then there is summation. Okay, so when x plus y, you can say 12 fibers are stimulated. So there is summation is possible. Okay, and when the summation of the frequency that produces increased muscle tension. Okay, suppose only 5 fibers are stimulated, you have tension developed this much only, this much you can see here. 7, the tension is this much, and 12 you can see this is the tension. So tension developed is increased. So first factor affecting muscle contraction is recruitment of motor unit. Second is nerve impulse frequency. Third factor is synchronization of nerve impulse. Synchronization means you can see here, suppose this is green one. When green one is firing, you can see these muscles are contracting. But suppose red one, that is when it fires, no contraction. Okay, so you can say that motor units are in different phase of activity, different phases of activity. So you can say that some are contracting, these are contracting, and these are relaxing. Okay, so when all are contracting, then the response will be more. So always synchronization of nerve impulse is also very important thing. Fine. Third thing, fourth one, initial length. I told you, very important factor. Initial length of muscle fiber according to Frank Starling's law. What is this Frank Starling's law? Within physiological limits, force of contraction is directly proportionate to initial length of muscle fiber. You can see here initial length. So you can see here, this is force of contraction, tension. When the length increases here, tension increases. I gave you the example that suppose if you have a rubber band, you are stretching the rubber band here. More the stretching, more will be the contraction. Why? Because more stretching, more will be the initial length. More initial length, more will be the force of contraction. So this is your Frank Starling's law. So many times this may be asked as a short question. Frank Starling's law, very very important short question. And your skeletal muscle as well as cardiac muscle, skeletal and cardiac muscles, they follow Frank Starling's law. Okay, this law. Fine, try to remember, this is very important. Now, another effect is effect of warming up. I think you must have seen that players or marathon runners or other cricket or any other players, they do warm up. So warm up is always required by sports person. Okay, before their performance. Why? Because warm up increases temperature, number one. Okay, temperature increases, so all the muscle performance increases. Second important thing is warm up increases initial length. Because of stretching, you can see here initial length increases, initial length increases. And when initial length increases, there is increase in the force of contraction, as we have discussed. So for that, warm up has very good effect. Okay, now another important topic here, maybe asked as a short question, is muscle fatigue. Now what do you mean by muscle fatigue? Fatigue means, just try to remember the definition. What is muscle fatigue? Repeated stimuli, repeated stimuli, they reduce responsiveness, and they produce state of, each and every word is important, state of reversible loss of activity. I'll explain. So repeated stimuli means, suppose if you are stimulating repeatedly, your muscle decreases responsiveness, means now your muscle will not give response. So the definition is repeated stimuli. For example, suppose if you are writing since 1 hour, so what happened? Repeatedly you are contracting, stimulating your muscle. So repeated stimuli, what happens at the end of half an hour? your responsiveness decreases. You cannot write down as fast as you have started. Okay, so here, that is, you can say it as fatigue. Repeated stimuli, when you are repeatedly stimulating, the responsiveness reduces and it produces a state of reversible loss. Very important word here is reversible loss. Why reversible? If you take rest, you can perform the activity again, so it is known as reversible loss of activity, that is fatigue. I repeat, the whole definition is very, very important. Okay, repeated, you just remember the example of writing. When you are writing 3 hours in your paper, so what happens? Repeatedly you are stimulating your skeletal muscles here. So repeated stimuli reduce responsiveness and produce state of reversible loss of activity. Okay, that is fatigue. Now you can see here, if we are recording fatigue in nerve muscle preparation, you can see here in isolated nerve muscle preparation, and if you are recording it, you can see here initial few contractions, the force of contraction increases. Why? Because of beneficial effect, height increases. Okay, because of beneficial effect. But after, if you are continuously stimulating your muscle, what happens? Height started decrease. You can see here, this is 10th contraction, 20th one, 30th, 40, 50. So gradually height decreases and relaxation period is increased. Relaxation period is increased and incomplete. Your muscle cannot complete the relaxation. Before it completes the relaxation, second stimulus comes. Okay, so relaxation is gradual and incomplete, and ultimately, finally, you can see in last, you can see here, there is no relaxation, contraction is there, state of contraction, that is known as contraction remainder or contracture or fatigue. You can see here. Am I clear? So this is the characteristic of fatigue. Now, how you can say that where is the site of fatigue, where your fatigue develops? Here, experimentally, it is proven that neuromuscular junction is the site of fatigue. Muscular junction. Why neuromuscular junction? Because after fatigue develops, if you are stimulating directly the muscle, then you will get the curve like this. Okay, and if you are using the same nerve for the other muscle, then also you will get the response. So you can, that muscle is not fatigued, nerve has not been fatigued. So where is the fatigue? Is the neuromuscular junction. Fine. Now, so where is the site of fatigue? That is your neuromuscular junction. You can see here, nerve with the muscle. When nerve comes in contact with the muscle, this is neuromuscular junction, okay, between nerve and muscle, and it is the site of fatigue. And this is in the nerve muscle preparation. If suppose we are talking about intact body, in intact body, our synapses in the CNS, because synapse also has presynaptic and postsynaptic memory, so it is the seat of fatigue. Now, what are the causes of fatigue? Because acetylcholine decreases, there is breakdown of ATP, okay, there is accumulation of waste products, okay, accumulation of carbon dioxide, decrease oxygen, decrease nutrients. So these are all the causes for fatigue. But if we take rest, what happens? Waste products are removed because of blood flow, carbon dioxide is removed, oxygen is provided, nutrients are provided, new ATPs are generated, new acetylcholine is produced. So all the changes of fatigue, they are reversible. Okay, now which are the factors they affect fatigue? Number one, that is intensity and duration of exercise. If the exercise is very severe, fatigue develops fast. Type of muscle fiber, your white muscle fibers, fatigue develops fast. Like suppose if you are writing, you develop fatigue fast, but if you are standing, that postural muscles, the fatigue develops slow. Effects of exercise, short duration but high intensity exercise, fatigue develops fast, but long duration and less intensity, fatigue develops slow. Psychological factors also play an important role in fatigue. Suppose if the person gets fatigue, but if you are motivating, then the fatigue onset is delayed. This is the reason for sports person. We are there to motivate the person. So fatigue development is delayed. Okay. So this is all about characteristic and the fatigue. These are some of the question answers. You can also write down, you can have a screenshot also, muscle tone, hypertonia. We have all discussed the things, okay? Now, so thank you so much again. These are all the other questions. You can make a screenshot, as well as you can also write down those questions from the slide, okay? And again, I repeat that if you wish to get soft copies of all my notes which I am teaching in my classes, you can download the application Vesalius and you can subscribe. You will get all the soft copies of my notes. But for that, you have to subscribe. Subscription is lifetime. You have to pay once and you get the lifetime subscription. Okay. Second thing, if you wish to get hard copy, that is also available on Flipkart and Amazon. The book Physiology Notes also, that is available. So order it and you can get all the my this lectures in question answers form. Okay, all the question answers given in my book. You can easily prepare those question answers. Fine. And you can join my WhatsApp group. The number is 78638226668. Okay, fine. Thank you so much. Thanks for being with me. Okay. If you like my video, you can like it, you can share with all your friends, and you can subscribe the channel. Okay. Thank you.